Hello and welcome to Darkness in the Night. There is a story, echoing through the cold mist of the pine forest, where people say, the crying in the wind has never stopped. Tonight, I will take you there. Let yourself sink into the darkness. Turn off the lights, and listen carefully. That afternoon in Gia was shrouded in gloom. Gray clouds covering the hills. The dirt road leading up to the newly bought house of Duck Tan and Mai was rough with stones, flanked by towering pines whose howling wind sounded like mournful sighs. The rattling moving truck stopped in front of the old wooden house. Its mossy tiled roof and weathered shutters made it look both cold and desolate. Mai clung to Tan, glancing around uneasily. "Anne, this house looks creepy." "Don't worry, it's just old. A little fixing and it'll be beautiful." The price was too good to pass up. Mai swallowed hard, clutching her shirt. On the porch, an old neighbor woman stood watching. Her wrinkled face and cloudy eyes gave off a strange chill as her cane tapped lightly on the wooden floor. "You plan to stay here?" "Yes, ma'am, we just bought it." The old woman slowly shook her head. "This house has been abandoned for a long time. At night, you'll hear crying. Everyone here is afraid. Children won't even pass by." Mai shivered and tugged Tan's arm. "Probably just village gossip. Tonight we'll sleep here. Nothing to be scared of." The old woman sighed and turned away, her voice fading in the wind. "It's cold here, don't stay up late." As night fell, the wind from the pines roared, leaves brushing together like footsteps circling the house. The wooden frame creaked with each gust. Mai shut the door tight, huddling close to Tan. "Did you hear that? Something's outside." "It's just the wind. The pines make eerie sounds." But then, a faint cry drifted from afar. At first, it sounded like a cat. Then it grew into sobbing. Mai trembled. "Who's crying out there?" "No one. Probably an injured animal." She peeked through the window. Nothing but darkness. The oil lamp flickering, clutching Tan's shoulder. She whispered, "Let's keep the light on all night." The crying rose again, this time closer, mingling with the moaning wind. "Anne, it's like someone's right outside the door." Tan grabbed the lamp and cracked open the door. Outside was empty, only the swaying pines, but as he turned back, a shadow flickered across the porch. Mai gasped, "Did you see? Someone's there." "There's nobody, just shadows from the wind." They ate quickly and laid out bedding. The night grew colder, mist pressing against the windows. In a half-sleep, Mai heard shuffling footsteps near the bed. She opened her eyes and saw a figure in the dark corner, standing still. Her breath quickened. "Who's there?" No answer, only the wind raging outside. The shadow seemed to creep closer. Mai squeezed her eyes shut, clutching Tan. By morning, the floor was damp as if water had seeped through, though the weather was dry. A sharp earthy smell filled the air. "Anne, why's the floor wet?" "It reeks. Probably dust and mold. I'll clean it up." As Tan wiped the floor, Mai stepped outside and froze. Small footprints dotted the wet ground, leading from the pine forest straight to the door, but no tracks going back. "Anne, look, someone came into our yard last night." Tan frowned. "Children's footprints, but we locked the door." Later at the market, when the locals heard they had moved into the house on the hill, silence fell before one vendor muttered, "You better be careful. Someone died tragically there." At night, cries echo. Mai's face drained. "Someone died? 10 years ago. A girl was murdered in that forest. No one dares stay since." Tan forced a laugh. "Too many ghost tales. Let's head home." By dusk, the wind roared again. The crying returned, now clear and piercing, as if right in front of the house. Mai clutched Tan. "Anne, you hear it? It's a person crying." He raised the lamp and looked outside. In the yard, a white figure stood faintly, long hair covering her face. Mai screamed, running into a corner. Tan stumbled back, hands shaking. The lamp flickered out, plunging the house into darkness. From the night came a broken whisper. "Return, my life." The air turned icy. Mai sobbed and clung to Tan. They curled together until dawn, when at last, the crying ceased. After that first horrifying night, Mai was exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. She sat on the porch, staring at the pine forest drowning in white mist. "Anne, I don't want to stay here anymore. I'm terrified." "Calm down. It was only one night. Maybe we imagined it. People tell ghost stories so much. We get haunted by our own minds." Mai stayed silent, gripping her hands tight. She felt as though someone was watching her from within the forest. That evening, Tan decided to put up more electric lights around the house. He strung wires, hanging bright white bulbs along the porch. "See? Bright as day. No ghost would dare come near." Mai nodded faintly, but unease gnawed at her chest. Night fell. The lights glared brightly, but the forest still loomed in thick darkness. The wind howled in sharp gusts. As the couple lay down, the crying returned, this time right under the window. "Anne, it's right under the window." Tan swallowed hard. "I'll go check." He stepped onto the porch with a flashlight. The ground lay empty. No one, but as the beam swept across a pine trunk, a white figure flickered, then vanished. Tan stepped back. "No, nothing's there." They tried to sleep. Near midnight, Mai jolted awake from a nightmare. She had seen a woman with a mangled face. Eyes blank white. The woman leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Return my life." Mai shook, drenched in sweat, clutching her head. Tan startled awake. "What now? I dreamed of her. She was right beside me." The wind slammed the window open. Icy air rushing in. The oil lamp sputtered out. In the darkness, dragging footsteps echoed across the wooden floor. Mai panicked. "There's someone inside." "Don't panic. I'll use the flashlight." The beam swept across the room. No one, but the floor bore muddy footprints. Small and wet, leading to the far corner and stopping. Mai gasped. "She's standing in that corner." "Isn't she?" Only blackness stared back, yet Tan felt it. Something was watching. The whisper returned. Closer now. "Cold, so cold here?" Sweat drenched his back. He backed toward Mai. They clung together, eyes locked on the corner until dawn broke. In the morning, they checked the yard. Beneath a pine, the soil was freshly disturbed, as if dug up during the night. Mai shuddered. "Anne, this wasn't here yesterday. Maybe a stray dog." But when they dug a little, a scrap of white cloth appeared, stained with old, dried blood. Mai dropped it instantly, face pale. "Anne, please, sell this house. Something unholy is here." Tan said nothing for a long time. The wind sighed through the forest, carrying what sounded like a woman's moan. That night, they set up cameras around the house to capture what happened after dark. "If there's anything strange, we'll see it. Maybe we'll catch whoever's messing with us." As night fell, they sat together, eyes fixed on the monitor. At first, silence. Then, near midnight, the screen glitched. A white figure swept across the porch, warped and stretched like smoke. Mai screamed, yanking the power cord from the wall. The screen went black. "Anne, I can't take this anymore." Outside, laughter rang out, shrill, cackling, endless. Tan froze, drenched in sweat. They didn't sleep, huddling together until morning light. That afternoon, Tan decided to hire a guard to watch the house at night. A strong young man took the job, smiling confidently. "I don't believe in ghosts. Tonight, I'll sleep out on the porch. If anything happens, I'll let you know." Mai nodded, hoping she could finally feel safer with someone standing watch. When night fell, the wind howled like a chorus of wails. The forest lay in impenetrable darkness. The guard sat by a fire, tapping his stick against the ground to stay awake. Mai pulled the blanket over her head. "Anne, I hear the crying again." The sobs came and went, sometimes soft like a child, sometimes choked like a grieving adult. Tan froze, gripping the knife he kept under the pillow. Suddenly, from the yard, came the asterisk clatter of the stick hitting the ground, followed by frantic footsteps pounding toward the house. Mai panicked. "Anne, the guard's running." The door burst open. The young man stumbled inside, face pale as death. "I can't do this. Out there, someone's hanging from the pine tree." Tan's eyes widened. "What are you saying?" "I saw it clearly. A person in white, hair covering their face, swinging back and forth from the branch. The wind blew and it kept spinning around." Before he could finish, shrill laughter echoed from the porch. The fire outside snuffed out. plunging the yard into pitch black. Mai screamed, "Anne, it's here again." The house lights flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Footsteps dragged around the walls, circling them. "Get out of my house," a raspy voice hissed right by their ears. Icy and sharp. Mai broke down crying, clutching Tan. The guard waved his flashlight wildly, but only caught glimpses of shifting shadows darting at the doorway. The laughter rose louder, joined by sobs, crashing together with the howling wind. Furniture shook violently. Dishes shattered onto the floor. "Please, leave us alone," Mai screamed. And then, silence. Only the sound of their heavy breathing remained. The guard trembled, quickly gathering his belongings. "I'm sorry. I can't stay here. This house isn't meant for people." He fled into the night, leaving the couple huddled on the floor, too terrified to turn off the lamp until dawn. By morning, Mai's face was drawn and pale. Tears welled in her eyes as she looked at Tan. "Anne, I can't take this anymore. If every night is like this, I'll lose my mind." Tan squeezed her hand. "I'll find a way. If not, we'll leave." But before his words could settle, a sorrowful wail drifted from the pine forest, broad daylight. The cry rose and twisted, mocking, until the wind carried it away. The two of them exchanged a hollow stare. Deep inside, they both knew, day or night, this house no longer belonged to the living. The third night in the house on the hill, Mai barely slept, her eyes swollen, her hands clutching the edge of the blanket. "Anne, I hear someone walking on the porch. It's been going on for a long time." Tan leaned against the wall, his face gaunt. "It's not a person. I've checked several times. The yard is empty." The wind rose again. The crying returned, this time clear as if it were right at the door. "Anne, it's calling my name. I swear I heard it." "Stop. Let me open the door." Tan switched on his flashlight and cracked the door. A blast of icy air hit his face. The yard was deserted, but right then, he saw a white figure hanging from a pine branch, swaying in the wind. When he blinked, it vanished. He slammed the door shut. "We can't stay here anymore." They decided the next morning to ask a monk at a nearby temple for help. At dawn, they went to the temple. The head monk studied them for a long moment. "Your house carries heavy resentment. You must hold a cleansing ritual. Here, take this talisman and hang it above your door." Mai bowed, murmuring softly. All she wanted was a peaceful night. But that evening, even after they hung the talisman, the crying still echoed. It drew closer, mixed with whispers that mocked them. "No one can save you." Mai burst into tears. "Anne, that's what it said. I heard it clearly." Suddenly the lamp went out, plunging the house into darkness. Tan hurried to switch on the flashlight, but its beam lit only a small corner. For an instant, right in front of him, was the mangled face of a woman. Blood streaked across her features, eyes blank and white. He screamed and fell to the floor. When he opened his eyes, the image was gone, only the freezing wooden floor remained. Mai hugged her knees, trembling. "Anne, my hand hurts." She held it out. Long claw marks had appeared on her skin, beads of blood rising. "No one touched you." "How?" Tan took a deep breath and wiped the blood. "I don't know, but it's playing with us." That night, Tan dreamed he was being buried alive. He struggled in the dirt as pine roots wrapped around his neck and pressed down on his chest, choking him. When he jolted awake, he was lying on the floor, his clothes covered in soil. Mai screamed, "Anne, who pulled you down onto the floor?" He gasped for air. "I don't know. I was really under the ground." Outside, the wind whistled long and low, like mocking laughter. Mai gripped her husband's hand. "It wants us to die here." They clung to each other, sitting frozen all night, not daring to close their eyes. After another night of terror, Tan sat slumped on the porch, exhausted, his eyes bloodshot. "Mai, we can't keep running. It's following us. It wants to hurt us. We have to end this somehow." Mai clutched the talisman tightly, her voice trembling. "I'm so scared. I heard it whisper right in my ear. It told me to go into the forest, or it would come inside." By late afternoon, they tried to cook as usual. The house was briefly quiet except for the whistling pine wind. As darkness fell, a knocking began. Knock, knock, Knock? Mai's voice cracked. Who's out there? A woman's voice drifted in, soft as a breath. Open the door for me. Tan gripped the flashlight and stepped toward the door. Who are you? No reply. Just a faint hiss of laughter. Then silence. They sat pressed together, staring at the door until midnight. Then a familiar voice called out, but it was Mai's mother's voice. Mai, open the door. Mother's here to visit you. Mai froze. Me? Mom, you're here? Don't open it, Tan hissed. But the sweet voice kept calling. I miss you so much. Come out to me. Mai burst into tears, rising to her feet. I have to open it. My mother's outside. Tan yanked her back. No, that's not your mother. Suddenly, a whisper slid into Tan's ear. Kill her. She's possessed. Kill her and you'll be free. His head spun, vision blurring. For an instant, Mai's face twisted into a grinning shadow. He snatched the knife from the table and stepped forward. Mai screamed. Anne, what are you doing? He stopped, drenched in sweat. The shadow vanished. Only Mai, sobbing, stood before him. The knife clattered to the floor. Tan clutched his head and shouted, It's controlling me. I almost killed you. Mai wrapped her arms around him. Both collapsed to the floor, trembling. Outside, a mournful wail rose, followed by shrill, mocking laughter. As they shook with fear, the porch security camera clicked on by itself. On the screen, a white figure crawled slowly across the ground, dragging itself forward on its hands, head tilted to one side. As it looked up, the screen glitched and went black. Mai screamed, Anne, it's inside now. The window burst open. A gust of icy wind rushed in. Footsteps dragged across the floor and stopped in the middle of the room. A broken voice rasped, choking on every word. No one can escape? The whole house shook. The lights went out. They heard footsteps circling them in the dark. Mai was shoved to the ground, fresh bloody scratches appearing on her arm. Tan shouted into the void. What do you want? Leave us alone. The woman's voice hissed through clenched teeth. Return. My life. At that moment, a heavy sound came from the porch, like something being hung from a tree. When Tan swung his flashlight toward the door, he saw a human shape swaying from the pine branch, legs dangling in the wind. He staggered back, face pale. It's hanging someone out there. Mai covered her mouth, sobbing. The two of them huddled together, waiting for the laughter to fade before they dared breathe again. At dawn, the couple still hadn't slept. Tan's eyes were bloodshot, his lips cracked and dry. Mai shivered under the blanket, still trembling. That afternoon they hired another guard, a tall young man with a Kwang accent. He sneered when he heard about ghosts. Don't worry, I'm here. If there's any ghost, I'll chase it off. Night fell and the air grew thick, as if filled with mist. From the pine forest came long, drawn-out cries. The guard sat on the porch, sweeping his flashlight around. A nervous giggle echoed from the dark. The guard barked. Who's there? No answer. Only the slap of sandals as if someone ran by. He rushed out into the backyard. Suddenly he screamed, Hey, what are you doing? Tan sprang up and ran outside with a light. The guard was shaking, pointing toward a pine trunk. There's my buddy, he's hanging there. Tan shone the beam but saw nothing. Only wind humming through the branches. The guard clutched his head, shouting, No, I saw it. It smiled at me. It's not here anymore. He threw down the flashlight and bolted toward the gate, vanishing into the night. The crying in the wind turned into a long, triumphant howl, like someone rejoicing. Mai screamed, It's toying with us. At that moment the window slammed on its own. The bulbs flickered and died. The house was swallowed by pitch darkness. Footsteps sounded everywhere, from the living room to the kitchen. Then came slow, urgent knocks at the bedroom door. Knock, knock, knock. A cold whisper pressed against the wall. Open up. Tan grabbed Mai and they hid under the bed. The knocking stopped, replaced by scraping across the floor that crawled right up to the bed's edge. The darkness beneath the bed turned icy, as if something were crawling in. Heavy breathing rasped close to Mai's ear. It's so fun. Here, Mai screamed. Tan snatched the oil lamp and lit it. The flickering flame revealed a pale, ghastly face peeking from under the bed. eyes wide and unblinking. He hurled the lamp toward the door and dragged his wife outside. They burst onto the porch, gasping in the biting wind. Inside, laughter roared as if chasing them. Furniture toppled, doors banged incessantly. They stood frozen until dawn. When they stepped back inside, the floor was smeared with muddy footprints as if someone had come straight from the forest. Mai sank to the ground, weeping. "I can't take this anymore. It wants us dead." Tan clenched his fist, voice raw. "No, we need help, even if it costs everything. We'll hire a spiritual master. Otherwise, it'll kill us." Mai nodded, pale and hollow-eyed. In the corner, the shattered oil lamp still bore a smear of blood. No one knew where the blood came from. The wind wailing through the pines sounded like an endless cry, warning that an even more terrifying night was closing in. The next morning, Tan took a bus down to Da Lat. The mountain road twisted through heavy fog, wrapping itself around endless pine forests. He arrived at a small house said to belong to Master Hung, a renowned exorcist. Master Hung was a frail old man, stooped with age, but his eyes burned sharp and clear. He listened silently as Tan poured out the story, never interrupting. After a long pause, the master finally spoke, his voice low and steady. "The house you live in, it is drenched in vengeful energy. This is no ordinary ghost. It is a bound spirit, trapped for decades, unable to move on. Its hatred only deepens." Tan's voice quivered. "Master, please help us. It truly wants to kill us." The old man nodded. "I will come, but prepare yourselves. It may not let go so easily." That afternoon, Master Hung traveled with Tan back to Jialai. Mai greeted them in a haggard state, her eyes bruised from sleepless nights. She clutched the master's hand as though clinging to life itself. "Master, every night it calls my name. It begs me to open the door. I'm so afraid." The master scanned the house, his brow furrowing. "It's here." The air dropped cold at once. No wind blew, yet the curtains swayed. A faint rasp sounded in the corner, like labored breathing. Master Hung drew out a stack of yellow talismans, lighting incense and placing them around the room. The rich scent of sandalwood pushed back the stench of damp mold. He sat cross-legged in the center, eyes closed, chanting softly. The air grew heavy, so heavy that Tan's ears rang. Suddenly, Mai screamed, "Master, it's at the door." They turned and saw her, a long-haired woman standing motionless on the porch. The master's eyes snapped open. His voice cut firm. "You will not enter here." The shadow tilted its head slightly, then drifted backward into the mist. The master wiped his brow. "Tonight, we begin the ritual, but you must be brave. Fear will only strengthen it." Tan and Mai exchanged trembling looks. There was no turning back. Night fell. The house blazed with lamps, talismans hanging on every wall. Master Hung drew a great circle across the floor with ashen rice, placing a gleaming dagger at its center. "Once I begin, no matter what happens, do not step out of this circle. If you do, it will take you." Outside, the wind wailed like howls through the black pines. A weak, sorrowful cry drifted closer and closer. Mai gripped Tan's arm, whispering, "And, it's here." The oil lamps flickered. The darkness pressed against the walls like a living thing. Master Hung began chanting, each word deep and resonant, shaking the air. At first, the house trembled lightly. Then footsteps thudded across the roof, skittering like something crawling. High-pitched laughter rang from one corner to another, echoing endlessly. A gust of icy wind burst inside, snuffing out the lamps. Only the red glow of burning incense remained. From the shadows, a pale hand reached in, gripping the edge of the door. Mai screamed, "Master, it's inside." Inside the house, incense smoke curled into thin trails. Master Hung sat cross-legged inside the talisman circle, eyes squeezed shut. He chanted steadily, his low, hoarse voice echoing through the room. The air grew dense. The whole house felt as if it were being squeezed. The wind outside howled and the windows slammed again and again. Mai trembled, clutching Tan's arm. "And, I hear footsteps in the hallway." True, heavy footsteps paced slowly, then stopped right outside the bedroom door. Master Hung opened his eyes and shouted, "Show yourself." A blast of icy air swept through. The door burst open. A figure stepped in slowly, a woman with long hair obscuring her face. Her white dress caked with mud. A sickening, fetid stench hit the room, making my gag. The figure stood motionless, head tilted to one side. A hoarse whisper rasped out, "Return my life to me?" Tan swallowed hard. "Who are you? What do you want from us?" The figure slowly lifted its face. The features were mangled, eyes milky white, black blood seeping from its mouth. Mai screamed and collapsed. Tan grabbed his wife, his heart pounding. Master Hung raised a talisman and shouted, "Leave this place. Follow me to the other side." He sprinkled holy water around the room. The ghost staggered back, shrieking, the sound like metal scraping stone. Suddenly the oil lamps went out. The ritual diagram on the floor trembled, rice dust scattering in the air. The ghost lunged forward like the wind, toppling the altar. Incense and candles were flung everywhere. "Master, the formation's broken," Mai cried, gritting his teeth. Master Hung thrust a talisman into the center of the circle and intoned louder. The ghost screamed and clawed wildly at the walls, leaving long streaks of blood. The cold was so intense Tan could see his breath turn to vapor. "No one runs free," the vengeful voice spat, each word like a nail. "All must die?" Candles flared suddenly, burning a blood-red light. The ghost convulsed in the middle of the room. Then it laughed, a horrific burst of laughter that rolled through the house. Master Hung's face went pale, sweat pouring from him. He shouted, "Hold the circle. Do not step out." The ritual trembled as if something beneath the floor were being torn apart. Dust rose and the stench of rot thickened the air. Mai clapped her hands over her ears, screaming, "I can't take it. It's looking at me." Tan held her tight, forcing himself not to break. The ghost paused, tilted its head at the three of them, then sneered, "Tonight, blood will spill?" With that, it vanished into a roll of dense black smoke. The house collapsed into silence. Master Hung put his hands on the floor, gasping, "It's very strong. We must perform a greater ritual. If not, the whole family will die." Tan, soaked in sweat, nodded, "Do whatever it takes. Just drive it away." Outside, the crying began again, this time sounding right at the window. As night fell, Master Hung prepared the second ritual. This time he erected a full altar in the middle of the house, drawing talismans with chicken blood and placing a bell, a dagger, and oil lamps at the four corners. The air grew so heavy Tan could barely breathe. "Tonight, this must end," Master Hung said, his voice like steel. "If we fail, it will grow 10 times stronger." Mai silently nodded, tears running down her cheeks. When the ritual began, a sudden gust blew out the lamps on the porch. The crying in the wind drew closer, as if echoing right above the roof. Master Hung chanted louder, the bell clanging in rapid beats. Then, a blood-curdling scream split the air. The ghost manifested inside the ritual circle, convulsing violently. Its long hair hung in tangles, its mangled face lifting, black blood dripping to the floor. Its voice hissed like the wind, "Your blood, not enough, return? My life." Master Hung shouted, "Go, be released." He drove the final talisman into the floor, sprinkling holy water again and again. The ghost shrieked, its form beginning to fade. Suddenly it let out a laugh that froze the blood. The ritual circle cracked open. Wind whipped so hard the windows flew wide, furniture crashing down. Master Hung's voice choked. He staggered, his eyes rolling white. "And, what's happening to him?" Mai cried. Tan trembled. "It's inside him." At that moment, Master Hung screamed, his voice warped, as though two people spoke at once. He seized the dagger and plunged it straight into his own chest. Blood sprayed, staining the ritual circle deep red. Mai shrieked, "No!" Master Hung collapsed, but his mouth twisted into a grin. The voice that came out was not his. "Now I'm here, forever?" A dark mass burst from his body, whipping around the house before vanishing. The house sank into a terrifying silence. Only the drip of blood on the floor remained. Tan knelt beside the master's body, shaking uncontrollably. Mai buried her face in her hands, sobbing. From the forest came the crying again, but this time it was longer, deeper, sounding like satisfied laughter. Tan clenched his fists, his face pale. The master's dead, now it's stronger than ever. Mai shook her head over and over. I don't want to stay here. I want to leave this place. But before she finished, the door slammed shut by itself. The lock rattled, as if someone had sealed them inside. Outside, the wind howled through the pines, the crying mingling with laughter, as though the entire forest was rejoicing. The two of them huddled together in the pool of blood, too terrified to move. They knew this night was only the beginning of the true hell to come. That night, the house was eerily silent. Not peaceful silence, rather, the suffocating sense that something was holding its breath, waiting. Tan sat against the wall, eyes fixed on the door. Master Hung's blood still stained the floor, not yet cleaned. Mai hugged her knees, shivering. Anne, I hear it calling from the garden. Tan nodded. I hear it too. It hasn't gone anywhere. The wind wailed. A whisper drifted in, close as a breath against their ears. Come out? Mai clamped her hands over her ears. No, stop calling me. The room plunged into a freezing chill. One by one, the light bulbs popped and died. Only the moonlight seeped through the window, illuminating the blood on the floor, forming the shape of a circle. Suddenly Tan's vision darkened. He was no longer inside the house, he was lying in the earth. Dirt pouring onto his face. Pine roots coiled around his arms and legs. He opened his mouth to scream, but soil filled his throat, choking him. No. He jolted awake, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Mai clutched him in fear. Anne, what did you dream? Tan shook. It wasn't a dream, it buried me alive. The window burst open. A shadow streaked across the room. Laughter followed, chilling and sharp. The front door swung wide. Wind howled inside, ripping blankets from the floor. A woman's voice spoke clearly now, not a whisper, but a command. Die, here, with me? Mai sobbed, clutching her head. Anne, it wants to kill us. I can't take it anymore. Footsteps echoed down the hallway, each step slow, deliberate, heading toward the bedroom. Tan gripped the blood-stained dagger that once belonged to Master Hung, standing guard at the door. If you want us, come in. The door creaked open on its own. No one stood there, only a wall of solid darkness. Mai stammered. And, look. Across the wall, crude words appeared, scrawled in blood. Return my life. The stench of iron filled the air. Tan stumbled back, pale as ash. Then came the sound, slow knocks from beneath the floor, as though something pounded from under the house. Thump, thump, thump. The boards quivered, dust sifted down through the cracks. Mai screamed and bolted toward the door, but it slammed shut before her, the lock rattling as if someone sealed it from outside. Laughter erupted, this time right behind them. A shadow crawled across the floor from the corner, body pressed low, hair dragging, fingernails screeching against the wood. Stay here with me? Mai staggered backward, slipping into the pool of blood. She fell, her hands slick and dripping red. The house went completely dark. No more wind, no more cries, only the pounding of their terrified hearts and the ragged breathing of whatever crawled closer across the floor. The darkness was so thick it felt like the whole house was being swallowed. Tan gripped the dagger, his hands shaking violently. Mai curled into herself, sobbing. The sound of something crawling across the floor grew closer. A putrid stench filled the air. A pale, bony hand slid out from the shadows, clawing at the floorboards. The screech of its nails sent goosebumps racing up their skin. Tan shouted and lunged forward, plunging the dagger down where the hand was. A piercing scream split the air. The black shape recoiled but didn't vanish. It rose up, nearly touching the ceiling. Its hair hid its face, blood streaked down its dress. Its voice rasped. You dared stab me? A blast of icy wind slammed into Tan, hurling him into the wall. The dagger skidded across the floor. Mai screamed, rushing to him. Anne, are you okay? Before she could help him up, the shadow lunged, It grabbed Mai's hair and dragged her across the floor. Mai struggled. "Let me go." Its hand was ice cold, clamping so hard her scalp burned. Tan staggered up and lunged, wrapping his arms around Mai to pull her back. "Let her go." They were both thrown into a corner. The wall cracked, dust filling the air. Laughter echoed, rolling through the house. "Ha ha, does it hurt? Not enough yet." Suddenly the floorboards split open, revealing black earth beneath. A gaping hole formed in the center of the house, the stench of death rising thick. Mai shrieked, "Anne, it's trying to drag us down." The soil began to churn as something rose from it. Pale hands shot out, clawing at the edge of the pit. Long, sharp nails scraped the wood, making an unbearable screech. Tan pulled Mai tight as they pressed back into the corner. A face lifted from the hole, the same mangled woman from Mai's nightmares. Eyes blank white, black blood dripping. It smiled. "Come down with me?" Suddenly one of the pale hands seized Mai's leg, yanking hard. Mai screamed, clinging to Tan. "Don't let me go." He fought with all his strength, but the pull from the hole was monstrous. Half of Mai's body slid into the pit. In desperation, Tan grabbed the dagger and slashed at the ghostly arm. A shriek tore through the house. The hands recoiled. The pit sealed itself as if it had never been there. Silence fell. Mai collapsed onto the floor, trembling, her leg bleeding from the scratches. Tan, drenched in sweat, gasped, "It's not trying to scare us anymore, it wants to kill us." The wind rose again, but this time it sounded like a slow, eerie lullaby. Night is not over. Every lamp in the house flickered back to life. But on the wall, the bloody writing had changed to a new sentence. "Tomorrow one of you will die." Asterisk. Mai buried her face in her hands, sobbing, "I can't take this anymore. I want to leave right now." Tan glanced around, his expression hollow. "I'm afraid tomorrow we won't get out at all." The front door creaked open by itself, as if inviting them. Outside, the pine forest stood deathly still, shrouded in thick mist. A figure glided past the porch and vanished. The front door gaped open, wind howling as fog poured inside. Tan gripped Mai's hand tightly. "Run, forget it. We have to get out." They bolted onto the porch, sprinting across the yard, but as they reached the gate, laughter erupted through the garden. The iron gate slammed shut, the lock clattering into place. Mai pounded on it, sobbing, "Open, let us go, leave us alone." From the pine forest, a white figure stood still. Under the moonlight, it began to move closer. With every step, the ground beneath its feet seemed to darken. Its voice rang out, clear and chillingly human. "One of you must die?" Suddenly, Mai felt her throat tighten, as though an invisible rope had wrapped around her neck. She gasped, clawing at the air. "Anne, help me." Tan lunged forward, grabbing her, desperately trying to pry away what wasn't there. Red welts rose on her skin, her eyes bulging. "Let her go. Take me instead. Take my life." The wind roared in fury. Answering his cry, the unseen rope pulled tighter. Mai's face turned blue. In despair, Tan drew the dagger and slashed his own arm. Blood poured out in streams. "Here, take my blood. I give it to you." Instantly, Mai collapsed to the ground. Gasping for breath, the white figure stopped, staring at Tan. A faint laugh trickled through the night. "Good, I'll take it." Agony ripped through Tan's chest. He staggered, collapsing as blood poured faster. As if being drained, Mai caught him, screaming, "Anne, don't leave me. Please don't die." The garden flashed bright, as though flames erupted for a moment. Then the white figure vanished. Tan lay trembling, his face ghostly pale. "Anne, are you alive?" Mai sobbed, shaking him. He opened his eyes weakly, whispering, "I'm not dead, but it's not finished yet." The wind fell silent. The gate creaked open by itself. But inside their heads, the whisper lingered. "Tomorrow night, it will be your turn." They stumbled back into the house, bolting every window and door. The silence was heavy, broken only by Mai's muffled sobs. On the wall, the bloody writing changed once more. "One more night." Tan stared at it, his eyes burning red. "It's counting down." The two of them huddled together in the dark. Outside, the wind rose again, carrying the sound of weeping, like a lullaby dragging them into another endless night. The next morning, sunlight slipped through the cracks of the door, but the house stayed dim and heavy as if black clouds hung over it. Ton sat blankly in a chair, his eyes glazed. The wound on his arm had been roughly bandaged, but blood still seeped through. Mai sat on the floor, her hands clutching her head. She kept flinching, as though hearing someone speak. And her voice trembled. "I can hear it, right now, it's calling my name." Ton frowned. "In broad daylight you hear it too?" Mai nodded frantically. "It says, tonight it will take me." Suddenly, the slap of sandals echoed on the porch. Someone was walking around the house. Ton jumped up, gripping the dagger. He flung the door open. Outside was empty, but right at the steps lay a long wet trail of dirt stretching from the gate inward. As if something had crawled its way to the house. Mai shivered. "That's not human." A gust of wind swept past, carrying a whisper right into their ears. "Mai, come to me?" Tears streamed down her face as she clung to Ton. Somewhere in the garden, a child began to cry, soft sobs stretching on and on. Ton gritted his teeth. "Don't go outside, it's baiting us." But the crying grew louder, as if just behind the house. Finally, Mai broke free. "I have to see, it's calling me." She ran toward the back door. Ton chased her, grabbing her hand. "Don't go, that's not a real person." Suddenly the back door burst open, cold wind slamming into them. In the shadows of the storage shed, a small shape flickered past. Giggling, a whisper floated out. "Play hide and seek with me." The shed door slammed shut on its own. Slow, deliberate knocks echoed from inside. Knock, knock, knock. Mai clutched Ton's arm so hard her nails dug into his skin. "Anne, it's in there." Sweat drenched Ton's back, his heart pounding. "I know." Then a piercing scream rang inside both their heads. They clutched their skulls and fell to the ground. Ton's vision blurred. He saw himself back in the pit of earth, this time not just roots, but dozens of pale hands clawing up, grabbing his body. Laughter roared, dozens of voices at once. "You can't escape, stay here, with me," Ton shouted, snapping back, but he was still sitting in the yard. Blood soaked through his bandage again. Mai covered her face, sobbing, "I can't take this anymore. I hear it all the time. I'm losing my mind." Before she finished, a giggle rose right behind her. An icy hand pressed down on her shoulder. Mai screamed and spun around. No one was there, but on her skin a red handprint burned bright, as though she'd just been gripped with crushing force. The house was silent, but inside Mai's head the whisper never stopped. "Mai, open the door, follow me." She sat slumped on the floor, eyes vacant. Ton was cleaning his wound when he heard the back door creak open. He spun around. "Mai, what are you doing?" Mai stood in the doorway, staring out at the garden. The wind tossed her hair, her eyes lifeless. "I hear it calling, it says to come out. I have to go." Panicking, Ton ran to grab her. "No, that's a trap." Mai shoved him away with unnatural strength. "You don't understand. It said, if I go, it will spare you." Ton froze. "Don't believe it. It just wants to kill you." Mai clutched her head, screaming, "I'm so tired. I don't want to stay in this house anymore. Every night it whispers in my ear. I'm losing my mind." Suddenly, laughter filled the house. "Ha ha, she's about to obey me." Ton gripped the dagger tightly. "Shut up, you're not taking her." Immediately the lights flickered wildly. On the wall, blood began to rise and form a new message. "Let her come out, and you will live." Mai backed toward the door, tears streaming. "See? It only wants me. If I go, you'll be safe?" Ton clasped her hand. "I'd rather die with you than let you go out there alone." She looked into his eyes, then suddenly screamed, "Don't you love me? If you do, let me go." The words stunned him. He shook his head, eyes brimming. "I love you, that's why I won't let you go." Suddenly the front door burst open, the wind tearing through the house. A figure glided across the room, then stood still out in the yard. Its voice rang out, this time a command. "Mai, come here." Mai moved as if hypnotized, her feet carrying her onto the porch. Ton tackled her, dragging her down. No, I won't let you go. The laughter turned into a piercing scream. Every window shattered, glass spraying everywhere. A shard sliced Mai's arm. Blood streaming down, she screamed, then went silent. Her eyes staring at Tan. Let me go, or it will kill you first. Tan's hands went weak. He released her. Mai rose, blood dripping from her arm but showing no pain. She walked slowly toward the yard, as if pulled by invisible hands. Tan snatched the dagger and lunged after her. No, come back. As soon as he crossed the doorway, an unseen force slammed him backward into the house. He hit the wall hard, pinned as if by a giant weight. He shouted but couldn't move. Out in the yard, Mai had reached the center. The white figure stood waiting. In the middle of the yard, fog coiled thick and heavy. Mai stood barefoot facing the white figure, her wounded arm dripping blood onto the ground in dark beads. A whisper floated through the mist. Blood smells so sweet? The white figure slowly raised its face. For the first time, Mai saw it clearly, its face mangled beyond recognition. One cheek stripped to the bone, eyes blank white, mouth torn open to the ears. Mai trembled, tears streaming down. Sister, what do you want from me? The wind hissed. Give back my life. I was buried under this yard? At once, the ground beneath Mai trembled. A crack split open, exposing human bones tangled in black soil. The stench of death rose thick and choking. Mai covered her mouth, gagging. Oh God! Inside the house, Tan shouted desperately. Mai, don't look at it, come back. But she couldn't hear him. She knelt beside the pit, staring at the skeleton. A silver ring glimmered on one dry finger. The white figure whispered, my husband killed me, buried me here. I must take another life to leave this earth. Mai shook her head, sobbing. I didn't harm you, why are you after me? The ghost screamed, its voice like thunder. Because you live, I need a life in your place. Suddenly, dozens of pale hands erupted from the pit, seizing Mai's legs and yanking hard. She screamed, clawing at the dirt until her nails broke and bled. Help me. Inside, Tan summoned all his strength, grabbing the dagger and charging into the yard. An icy wind lashed him, but this time he fought through it. He reached Mai, slashing wildly at the pale hands. Screams echoed across the yard as the ground shook violently. The white figure staggered back, shrieking, tomorrow night, your life will be mine. A swirling gust whipped the soil into the air. Then the figure vanished. The pit sealed over as if it had never been there. Mai collapsed onto the ground, trembling from head to toe. Tan wrapped his arms around her, both gasping for breath. On the yard's surface, their blood mingled into a single trail leading straight back to the house. They stumbled inside, holding each other up. At that moment, the bloody writing flared on the wall, larger and clearer than ever. Tomorrow night, the one to die will be chosen. Crying echoed through the house, stretching on until they sank to the floor. The air grew so dense it felt as though the house itself was waiting for their appointed hour of death. The house drowned in suffocating darkness. Fog from the pine forest seeped inside, clinging to their skin with icy dampness. Mai sat on the floor, clutching her head, her vision blurring as she trembled. The whispers echoed everywhere. Choose the dead, the living? Tan stood nearby, gripping the dagger, eyes bloodshot. I won't let you take her. A white figure appeared in the center of the room, hair hanging long over its face, blank eyes gleaming, lips twisted into a monstrous grin. Tonight, one must die, the voice rang through the house. Mai's tears welled up as she looked at Tan. You, or me? His chest pounded as he tightened his grip. I won't let it be you. The figure raised its hand, and the whole house shook violently. Furniture toppled, glass shattered, wind howled through clouds of dust. Laughter echoed, tangled with the sobbing of someone long dead. Choose, or I'll choose for you. Mai clutched him desperately. I don't want you to die. His voice cracked. I don't want you to either, but an invisible force ripped through the air, hurling them apart. They clawed for each other, but the power was too strong. The white figure darted forward, wrapping around Tan. He screamed as blood gushed again from his old wound. Mai cried out, running toward him, And oi! The ghost twisted, transforming Ton into a shadowy blur, dragging him toward the pit in the yard, the pit where the cursed soul had been buried. Ton was pulled closer, his body dangling between earth and darkness. He stretched his hand toward Mai, but she was shoved back. "Don't leave me," she screamed, collapsing onto the ground, trembling. The ghost's laugh rattled the air. "One must die, so I can be free." Ton fought with all his strength, but the pull was merciless. He slipped further into the pit, swallowed by black soil. Mai clawed at the edge of the pit, grabbing his arm. "And oi, don't go." But the ghost shoved harder, and Ton plunged. His final scream tore through the night as blood spilled into the earth, fusing with the cursed soil. The air froze, the yard was silent as death. Mai collapsed at the pit's edge, weeping. "You can't die? I'm so sorry." The ghost laughed, then sank into the pit, vanishing. The silence that followed was crushing, broken only by the wind through the pines. Mai sat trembling on the floor. They hung. Ton, everyone was gone. Only she remained. The front door creaked open. A freezing wind rushed in, carrying a whisper. "Every night, a new one will come." Shivering, Mai rose, staggering through the wreckage. The stench of death lingered. On the wall, bloody words appeared. "Nitrogen monoxide 1 escapes. All will be damned." Asterisk. She turned toward the mirror and saw the white figure standing behind her. Hair hanging down, eyes blank, blood dripping from its mouth. The whisper crawled into her ears. "Tonight, only you, but peace will never come." Mai screamed and bolted outside. But the yard was swallowed by fog. There was no escape. Crying and wind merged into one endless wail. The house stood in ruin. Yet from within, moans echoed, an eternal curse waiting for the next victim. This concludes the story. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe. Your support inspires us to create more chilling tales. Feel free to leave comments below with your questions or feedback. Bong Toi Trong Dem Asterisk will return with another terrifying story soon. Disclaimer. This video is a work of horror fiction, created purely for entertainment and to deliver a thrilling experience. We do not promote superstition or encourage any dangerous actions mentioned. Any resemblance to actual persons, places, or events is purely coincidental. Thank you for supporting our channel.